Right, friends, so we're into the last week of July. We're looking at the week of the 24th to the 30th of July, 2022. Let's have a look and see what is the energies, what are we dealing with, what's going to be happening for us for the next week. So I'm going to give the Oracle of the Year a shuffle. We're looking for a single card from Orange deck, or from the orange pile, I should say, and a single from the green. And together they will give us our theme for the week. So we've got conscious. Let's see what we've got conscious of. Conscious what? Week ahead, week of the 24th to the 30th of July. Let's have a look. We have got conscious self-care. Oh, I like it. You know, self-care is something that none of us do enough of, I think. Even if you are doing self-care, I'm just going to shuffle the other oracle. I'll talk about this one in a second. Conscious self-care, you know, it's something that even if you are taking time out every single day to take care of yourself, to look after yourself, to, you know, just take a couple of minutes to sit and enjoy a cup of coffee without feeling rushed or guilty or pressured. We may do that on a regular basis, on a daily basis, but how many of us are like actually really and truly allowing ourselves total permission to enjoy a cup of coffee, to enjoy a bath, to you go for a walk, to do whatever we need to do to deal with, to heal, to promote our own self-care. You know, self-care is not just about our cleanliness. It's not just about our physical. It's about our mental and emotional aspects of our body and souls as well. So conscious self-care means that you are making time in your diary. I'll actually like to do that, is in the diary, to actually block off a section, block off a time of the day. And if you can't do every single day, because let's be honest, life is a bit busy, life is a little bit chaos. We don't all have the luxury of doing every single day, but at least once a week. Make sure that you've actually planned it, that you don't get to that portion in your diary, go, okay, so now what am I going to do? You know, what does my self-care look like this week? What does my self-care look like today? We need to make sure that we have consciously planned, strategized, thought about, prepared, so that when the time comes, when we have the time in our diary to, you know, when the time comes for us to practice the self-care, that we actually know what it is we want to do and how it is we want to do it. All right, so I have shuffled this beautiful oracle deck. This is the Roots and Wings Oracle, and I have shuffled and drawn a single card. I'm just trying to see where to put them. So this oracle card is going to contribute to our conscious self-care. So let's just see the message that comes through from it. Crafty, you know, this is now speaking my language. Immediately I read crafty as in being crafty, not in fox and sly like, but as in creative and, you know, making things and being crafty in a creative way. But that's not necessarily what the card is referring to. This card is referring to, and I'm just going to throw the word at you, manipulation. The card is referring to the fact of recognizing that you have to be slightly manipulative around your conscious self-care to ensure that you get what it is that you need, that you take care of yourself in the way that you need to be taken care of. Crafty is saying to you, you know, other people may not understand your need, your desire, your, you know, for self-care. They may not completely fully understand why you have this desire for self-care, why you need it, why is it so important. And they may try and convince you to, like, if it's your time slot for self-care and you say to them, okay, you know what, guys, I'm going to go and sit and have a cup of coffee, they're going to say, well, why are you having a cup of coffee? Don't you want to do this for us? Don't you want to help me with this? Don't you want to, like, they feel as if they can take advantage of your self-care time. So crafty means that you're going to tell people, listen, I'm going off to do A, B, and C, which is actually not really the truth, because you're taking a bit of time out for yourself. So crafty here is reminding you to be creative, to be bold, and to be focused and determined in creating that conscious self-care for yourself. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel guilty. Or actually, I'm even going to change it now and say crafty could even be saying to you to learn how to say no. When people want to take advantage of your conscious self-care time, when people want to say to you, oh, no, but you know what, you can do that tomorrow. Just quickly help me. This is urgent. This is important. Learn how to be crafty in your response, in your reaction, in saying, time out. No, I'm not doing that for you. We have to be more bold. We have to be more conscious in taking time out for ourselves, to take care of ourselves. Because you know what? The truth of the matter is, if you deny yourself conscious self-care on a regular basis, when you're suddenly having a moment of anxiety, of stress, of panic, of whatever it is, I can promise you the people who are trying to take that time away from you will not be there to assist you. They will not be there to help you through your challenge. So we have to be crafty in allocating, scheduling, making, and then taking the conscious self-care time for yourself. Now, self-care could look different for each one of us. I talk about drinking a cup of coffee, but your conscious self-care may be sitting out in the garden. Your conscious self-care may be doing a bit of yoga at home or with nobody around in your own time, space, and duration. Self-care for you may be having an afternoon nap. Self-care for you may be eating something consciously, being mindful of every mouthful, of the chewing and the swallowing. Conscious self-care may be taking time out to read a book. Conscious self-care may be time that you take in grooming yourself, in putting on makeup, in doing your hair. Conscious self-care for you may look like going for a drive in the countryside. It'll look different for each one of us. Conscious self-care for you may be a meditation or even a journaling practice. So whatever your conscious self-care is, whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel joyous, whatever makes you feel happy, enthusiastic, and motivated, that's what conscious self-care is. And be crafty with no guilt. No guilt allowed. You're not allowed to feel guilty for taking time out to nurture and look after yourself. So the next thing that we're going to do in our weekly reading is we're going to do a crystal card. So I am going to give the crystal cards a little bit of a shuffle. These are homemade cards, so I have to be a little bit gentle with them. They're not as thick and robust as normal shop-bought cards. So I'm looking for a single crystal energy that we can all utilize and work with during our week of conscious self-care. So a crystal energy, and it doesn't matter whether you own a piece or not, a crystal that we can all think about, that we can all research, that we can all look at, that we can all imagine for the week ahead, that will help us to focus our attention and to focus our energy on conscious self-care and give us permission to be creative in getting that done. So let's have a look and see what crystal we have for the week ahead. We've had this card before. We've had this crystal before. Ruby zoisite. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but ruby zoisite can enhance your psychic abilities and help negative energy turn into positive energy. I'm going to stop reading for a second there, because that is exactly what our theme is, isn't it? You know, this is a positive energy. This is a positive thought, a positive action, a positive conscious thought that we do for ourselves. But we then have the guilt, or we then have other people's negativity that sort of creep into that. And then we seem to let go of our conscious self-care in order to take care of others, or in order to do what other people want for us. So immediately this crystal is going to help us to overcome that. It's going to help us to turn negative energy into positive energy. It can combat mood swings and prevent overreactions. Again, it's talking to our conscious self-care, because conscious self-care will also help us to combat our mood swings and to prevent overreactions. Is the craftiness telling you to learn how to tell people they can't take your time. It can help to boost male and female fertility, as well as helping you to maintain your individuality. So as far as I'm concerned, this particular crystal speaks perfectly and beautifully to our theme for the week ahead. The element is the spirit. Self-care, conscious self-care deals with the spirit. We're looking at the heart and the crown chakras. And the affirmation that you can use to help you is, I am calm and have stability in my moods. So when you're needing to be crafty, when you're needing to practice your conscious self-care, you could even, if you don't have the time to do a huge, big, elaborate self-care process, you could actually just go somewhere where you won't be disturbed, and you can just repeat this to yourself. I am calm and have stability in my moods. I am calm and have stability in my moods. I am calm and have stability in my moods. And you say it 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times until you feel calmer and more relaxed. And you can do that sitting at your desk. Just close your eyes for a brief minute and just repeat it to yourself 2 or 3 times. And if the more you do that, the more you work with that affirmation, the more you, and you say it with belief, that could absolutely be your conscious self-care for the week ahead. Absolutely. I quite like that. So as I say often with crystals, I don't particularly own a piece of that particular crystal, and I'm sure most of you don't either. But just because you don't own it doesn't mean you can't utilize the properties of the particular crystal. So work with the ruby zoisite. If you want to use this particular image, or if you want to Google a different image of the crystal, you are more than welcome to do that. And then just close your eyes and imagine it. Close your eyes and imagine that you are holding it in your hands and allow it to change all negative energy into positive. Visualize it doing that for you. And if you do that, if you set those intentions and work with it, it will be as if you are holding the actual real crystal in your hands. I always find it so interesting how these different aspects of our weekly reading all seem to blend and sort of, come into each other. So I, most of the time, select the decks that I'm going to work with before I push the record button so that I have it all on the table here in front of me so that I can just grab them and go. And when I was preparing for the reading and when it came to part of the angel reading, I thought, okay, so what angel decks do I want to work with today? And I pulled out an angel deck that I haven't used in years. I haven't used it in an incredibly long time. And it's quite interesting how I think it's going to fit in with this theme quite a lot. Now, I want to note that this particular card, it's got this obviously browny orangey colors, but it also has the green, and even this fox seems to have a bit of, I don't know if it's just my camera, but it seems to have a bit of a green tinge to it. We've got our self-care card, which is green, and this ruby zoisite crystal also has a lot of green energy. And the angel deck that I want to work with today is this green Archangel Raphael healing oracle deck. So I chose this particular deck because this week alone I know of so many people who are struggling on a physical, mental and emotional level. So many people who have reached out to me to ask for healing, and so many who haven't reached out, but I know who have been in need of healing. So I have spent a lot of time this past week sending out Reiki energy, sending out energy healing to any and all that need. It's something that I do on a daily basis. I have a healing book, and anytime I hear of or know of anybody who is unwell, I add them into my book. And every morning when I do my morning self-care, I send healing to the entire book, to everybody's name. So even if you've healed and recovered from whatever put you in the book, you still receive healing from me on a daily basis. And I just thought that from our angel message today, I thought it would be quite nice to get a message on healing, a message on clarity and understanding. And you know what? It fits into conscious self-care, because acknowledging that you are unwell, acknowledging that you are in need of guidance and support, acknowledging that you need a little bit of assistance around something is so hard. It's something that we all absolutely struggle to do. We all find it really difficult to do that, but it is part of our conscious self-care, recognizing when you are not at your best, recognizing when you are not feeling strong, bringing the crystal energy into it as well, turning negative energy into positive, taking whatever is creating that unwellness within you and converting it and changing it into a positive. So let's have a look and see, Archangel Raphael, what message do you have for us today? So alternative medicine, and here I'm talking about energy healing and all of that good stuff. At the bottom here it says, Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for guiding me to the ideal healing treatment modality and for giving me clear signs and messages to validate the best path for my well-being. So whatever it is that you're dealing with. So again, this covers and includes and encompasses whether we're looking at physical, mental, emotional, whatever your situation is, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever needs conscious self-care, whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that you're finding really, really difficult. We're probably going to have terrible glare there. No, it's not too bad. That is what you need healing with. And it's not Healing as in going to a medical doctor. Please do. If you've got physical issues, please do go to a medical doctor. Don't delay. If you've got a problem, go and get it sorted out. But when it comes to your conscious self-care, this is confirmation from the angels for us that we all need to turn to more holistic, alternative kind of therapies, which is journaling. Journaling is the most amazing therapy under the sun. I mean, it is not a lot of people talk about it, not a lot of people do it, but I promise you, to deal with stress and anxiety and fears and insecurities and trauma and whatever, journaling is really, really good for that. And it is an alternative medicine. Energy healing is another form of alternative medicine. Meditation is another form of alternative medicine. Practicing conscious self-care, actually forcing yourself to take time on a daily basis to improve yourself, to better yourself, to deal with the things that are going on in your life, is the best form of therapy ever. I have, and I'm going to use this deck probably for a while because I do absolutely love it. This is a little local South African deck. It's called Angel's Cove. So let's get a message from the Angel Cove angels to go with our alternative medicine, our conscious self-care, being crafty in making sure that we make the time for the conscious self-care and turning negativity into positive in our lives going forward. So let's have a look. Angel's Cove, message from the angels, please, to contribute and add to and clarify everything that we've already covered today. Okay. Happy with the little shuffle. Let's cut the deck and take a card. So let's have a look and see what Angel's Cove wants to say to us today. Goals. Your angels are asking you to set new goals or to redefine old goals. Your angels are waiting to help you achieve them. So remember, the best way to help others achieve their goals is to set an example of achieving your own. You see, so isn't that perfect conscious self-care? Recognizing, and I have used this analogy quite a few times in my online readings. If you're flying in an aeroplane, when they do the safety check and they say to you, if cabin pressure decreases or whatever it is, the masks will drop from the cabin above. Put your own mask on first before trying to help anybody else. And that's what this is saying to you as well. Practice your own goals. Practice taking care of yourself before putting everybody else's needs, wants, and desires first. So look after you, and then you can start taking care of everybody else. And that is alternative medicine, because again, previously we've all been sort of raised and brought up in this take care of your neighbor, love thy neighbor, look after the neighbor, do for others, put other people's needs before your own, don't be greedy, don't be selfish, all of these kind of things. But actually we need to unwind all of that. We need to undo all of that, because it's time for us to realize that we are important to ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves first. Nobody's going to take care of us. Nobody is going to come to us and say, Shame, you're suffering, you're battling, let me help you. No, that doesn't work. People will come to you and say, they're suffering, they're battling, they're finding things difficult. What can you do to help them? But very few people will step forward and offer you help without you asking. So we have to learn to put ourselves first. We have to learn to be quite crafty in the way that we make time for ourselves. It doesn't mean you have to keep it a secret, and it doesn't mean you have to hide it from everybody, but it's just about bringing the priority of it, the significance of it up, and then you can start sharing it with people, and then suddenly they'll go, look, you've come such a long way. You are so much better for taking time out for yourself. So maybe if I did it for myself, I would feel better. So if you want to help other people, help them by helping you first. And that is the way to solve most of your life challenges, most of the problems that you're dealing with in life at the moment. Right, fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Let's have a look and see what the week ahead has in store for you. The three cards that I have drawn for you is the Prince of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Princess of Wands. So we've got two wands which have come through as predominant, which means that you're going to have quite a busy, active week, okay? So it doesn't look like it's going to be a slow week. It doesn't look like it's going to be a week of sitting around waiting. It looks like it's going to be quite a busy and active week. I also think it's going to be a very successful week. We've got movement happening on both sides here with our prince and our princess, and in the middle here we've got the coming together and the celebration. So it looks all together as if your week ahead is going to be really, really awesome. I do think though, I look at the Prince of Cups and then I compare it to the Princess of Wands. Prince of Cups is very focused, okay? You can see that there's movement, there's progression, but he is very active in following the path, in knowing where he's going. He's not just trusting that everything's going to be okay. He's not just trusting that everything's going to work out the way that he needs it to. He is conscious. I love that. I'm bringing that word into it, okay? He is conscious in knowing the direction that he's going. He is controlling the eagle. He's not allowing the eagle to control him. Yes, the ego is doing the hard work and pulling him through the water, but he is also directing and navigating the eagle to navigate his direction and where he goes. So it's almost like fire sign spirit saying to you, be very conscious in what it is that you tackle this week, in what it is that you take on this week, because there are going to be heightened emotions. There are going to be situations that are going to require precision, direction, and especially around needs, wants, and desires. So make sure that you are focusing, make sure that you have focused attention in the direction that you're going, and that you remain in control as much as you are using and have the guidance of this beautifully strong, amazing golden eagle. You've got to make sure that you are the one navigating, that you are the one driving. And if you can do that, success and victory is going to be absolutely yours. Here we can see everybody has come out to celebrate your success as you step out. So as you almost graduate is the word that I'm hearing, okay? So as you graduate from your situation, as you step beyond, the celebrations and the victories are going to be there, but you've got there by yourself. Notice that there is nobody standing with you. There is nobody graduating with you. There is nobody, you are the only one who is standing at that point. You are the only one there, and you've got there by yourself. You've got there on your own. Everybody is happy for you and everybody is celebrating your accomplishments and your achievements, but it's not like you need to share this with anybody. So in practicing conscious self-care, fire signs, make sure that you recognize that this is your chance to shine. And I say shine because we've got this light illuminating from behind you, sort of guiding you and pushing you forward. So step into the light, step into the limelight. Let people see you, let people acknowledge you, let people recognize all you are, all you've achieved, all you've done. So when somebody wants to give you praise, I know it's awful, and I know we don't always like it, but just stand there, smile, and say thank you, okay? Then we have this incredibly enthusiastic card. I mean, just look at it. We have got all this, and I mean, isn't it so fascinating for all our fire signs? And we've got this incredibly fiery energy coming through here. Our Princess of Wands. Now, you can see that she is just reveling in the moment. She is just loving everything that's been given to her. She is just so in the space, so in the now, so in that moment, enjoying the fruits of her labor, enjoying everything that she's done, everything that she's put on herself. She is just so enthusiastic. We need to be careful though, because you can see that she's not mindful. She's not as focused as our prince is, okay? She is letting her heart space drive her and guide her. But you can see that, number one, her eyes are closed, and number two, with her head bent back the way it is, she can't actually see what's going on around her. And if she's not careful, this fire could burn out of control and she could get burned. So what this is saying to you is be conscious. As much as you've got this enthusiasm and excitement, especially after the victories that are going to come for you this week, when you start feeling success and victory happening around you, there's going to be, as much as I'm saying, stand there and appreciate it and allow it and just let it take place for you, let it happen for you. Just don't Don't let it get to your head. Let's just put it bluntly, okay, fire signs? Don't let it get to your head. Don't become egotistical around the successes and the accomplishments of this week, because if you do, I mean, there is an element of, yes, go for it, allow it to happen, but don't get swept up into that fire. Don't get swept up into that enthusiasm, because there is a chance that you could be burned as well. So again, I'm going to bring the conscious self-care into it. Allow it, but to a point. Okay, allow the success, allow the celebration, allow the activity, allow it all to happen, the enthusiasm within you. Give it free rein to a point, and then we need to reel it in, then we need to pull it back, dial it back ever so slightly, so that we don't get swayed off course, and so that we continue to be successful and continue to have a I'm going to call it a decent level of enthusiasm, and not an excessive amount of enthusiasm in your life. Because remember, it is a week of conscious self-care. We need to control ourselves as best as we possibly can. So fire signs, I do hope you have an amazing week ahead. Sending you all lots of love and blessings. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Let's have a look and see what the week has in store for you. We've got the Ace of Cups, we've got the Ace of Wands, and we've got the Two of Swords. So the common theme here is the Ace. Aces are about new beginnings, about new opportunities. Now, I also note we've got Ace, Ace, and a number 2. So everything is very much in, I'm going to call it infant stage, okay? Everything is still very fresh and very new in your life at the moment. So earth signs, don't be too enthusiastic. Don't allow yourself to think that we're already complete and done. We're not there yet. We're still here at the bottom. We've still got a little bit of work to do in order to get to the top. So it looks like this week is going to be a week of starts. It's going to be a week of new beginnings. It's going to be a week of stepping into things, okay? It's not going to be a week for completion, for endings, for attainment, for achievement. It's going to be a week of taking it slow. It's slow start. It's everything's building, but we're still setting the foundation this week. So don't be too quick to rush into anything. Don't be too quick to think, okay, well, that's me done. Let's move on to something else. This is everything that requires your attention, and we're still very much in the infant stage. So let's get into the details. The first card we have is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is the card of emotion. Okay, so it's about these new emotions that are going to come through. And considering we're having a week of conscious self-care as the theme for the week ahead, and we need to strategize and make sure that we are making the time for it, there is going to be these feelings of, am I doing it right? Do I deserve this? Should I be doing this? Am I doing a disadvantage to anybody by doing this? So to me, it's like these, I'm going to call them conflicting emotions around the conscious self-care that we need to adopt this week. You may be feeling like maybe you're not doing it right, or maybe you should include other people in your conscious self-care. Maybe you're feeling like you should make it a group effort, that you should, instead of just doing it for yourself, like include and share it with one or two other people so that other people can benefit. And I'm going to say to you with the Ace of Cups is no, you're not ready for that yet, okay? Because you're still building and developing yourself emotionally around the conscious self-care. So there isn't enough of you to go around. And we know that you care. We know that you have such a big heart, earth signs. We know that you just want to help everybody and be there for everybody. But I am going to tell you that this is about actually taking care of yourself. This is, notice that the concentric circles are starting here at the heart center, and we're holding a singing bowl here. There is ice, everything is cold. We need to warm it up. We need to warm it up. And if you know anything about warming up something that is from a frozen, you can't just boom, click your fingers and it's done. It has to be done gradually, slowly, and then you pick up pace, But it is about conscious self-care first before you start taking care of everybody else. Now, the very, very interesting kind of concepts here. I noticed and mentioned and brought through the iciness, okay, that we have in the Ice of Cups. In the Ice of Cups, listen to me, oh my gosh, the Ace of Cups, okay, and how everything is water is frozen and we need to thaw it and then we need to start working with it. And your second ace that we have over here is the Ace of Wands, which is fire. So we've got the opposites of ice and fire. The opposites of ice and fire. The one can hurt the other. The one can hurt the other. It goes in both ways. So and this speaks to the message that I've given you so clearly, because this is the card of inspiration. This is the card of your desire to help, to heal, to navigate, to assist, and to support everybody else. But again, considering this is a week of conscious self-care of the self, here I immediately said how you have this desire to help other people, to bring other people in to whatever it is that you're doing so that they can benefit from what it is that you're doing. But considering we have this Ace of Wands over here, I think it's basically saying to you, earth signs, that if you bring other people in to whatever it is that you're doing before you are ready for it, you will end up melting and being a puddle. And if you're a puddle, you're a mess and you're no good to anybody. So I think this is basically saying to you, recognize that you are not yet ready to share everything that you've got going with other people. So let's bring that into for example, a work situation, career-wise. This is basically saying to you that whatever it is that you're getting involved in at work, whatever these new opportunities are that are coming through for you in the workplace, don't be so quick to tell everybody about it. Don't be so quick to share, because people will take from you, okay? People will take advantage of your kindness, your generosity, your soft nature, blah, 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 and you will be a puddle of water on the floor, which is no good to anybody. So hold back. And I know, earth signs, I know that is so hard. I know that is so hard for you to hold yourself back, because all you want to do is make the world better. All you want to do is help and guide everybody else. I'm going to remind you the angel message. The angels were saying to you, are asking you to set new goals or to redefine old goals. Your angels are waiting to help you achieve them. Remember, the best way to help others achieve their goals is to set an example of achieving your own. And that is the exact message that's coming through for you here with these two cards, earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So our number 2 card over here is the Two of Swords. Now, you can see immediately that our Two of Swords is blindfolded, all right? They cannot see with their eyes. They are sitting cross-legged on the floor. They have got these two swords sort of crisscrossed across the heart space. Now, I notice heart space is covered here, heart space is covered there, heart space is covered there. So again, we've got this theme of protecting the heart space that's coming through very strongly here for you, earth signs. With these crossed swords, it basically means that you are defending yourself, but it also means that you are not wanting it to be overly obvious that you are defending yourself, because you're telling everybody that you can use those swords to help others, to defend others, to guide others, to assist others. Now, the interesting thing with this particular Two of Swords is the fact that even though the physical eyes are blocked out covered, the third eye is illuminated and open. I also notice with our swords that we've got the crescent moon, and then we've got this sort of lotus flower that's sort of tying it all together over there. So the Two of Swords are saying to you that you're not really aware. It's not clearly obvious. You're not really fully aware of exactly what is going on around you. You're not aware of everybody else's intentions. So there has to be this element of self-protection, conscious self-care. There has to be that element of self-protection, but there also is this willingness to help other people, to be there for other people, to support them energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally. But again, it's telling you, take care of you first. So earth signs, spirit is saying to you for the week ahead, be very mindful of the beginnings, the starts, the opportunities that you're getting involved in. Don't be so quick to share with other people. Keep it to yourself a little bit longer. Protect yourself a little bit longer. Be very much conscious about your conscious self-care. And only when the time is right, and you will know when the time is right, but it's probably not going to be this week. It may only be next week that you get to take the blindfold off, uncross your swords, and share with others. But if you share too quickly, you are going to end up as a melted puddle on the floor, and that is no good to anybody. So, Earth signs, wishing you a beautiful week ahead, sending you lots of love and blessings. Take care. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, welcome. Let's have a look and see what your week has in store for you. The three cards that I have drawn for you for the week ahead, we have the Nine of Swords, the Eight of Discs, and the Six of Cups. Immediately we note that there are no duplicates. There's no theme developing here. We have three very, very different cards, but I can say to you, it starts off bad, it ends off fabulous, and we have the Patience in the middle. So basically, the message that I get for this for you for the week ahead, air signs, is that, we need to be conscious of the thoughts that we have. We need to be mindful of what's going on in our heads, because you are currently at the moment your own worst enemy. You are being incredibly hard on yourself. You are being incredibly judgmental on yourself. And it's probably why we're having a week of conscious self-care, because air signs, you need to actually practice conscious self-care. And I'm even going to change it. Conscious kindness, okay? Because you are being very judgmental, very critical of yourself, possibly even of others, but I'm keeping it very much along the lines of the self this week. When I look at this card here as in the Nine of Swords, so the Nine of Swords is it's what we call the stress and anxiety card, okay? Because it is the card of panic, it's the card of fear, it's the card of insecurities, it's the card of, and if we have a look at the actual artwork, if we look at there you are sitting in your bed in the middle of the night. We've got these two aspects of yourself that have come out, and these two aspects are causing torture, causing pain, causing harm. But you've got one really, really bad devil and one that's better but not strong enough to overpower the other. And we all have these energies or these elements within us. We all have these elements of, good and bad, good devil, bad devil, whatever it may be, however it sits on your shoulders. And this is what's happening within you at the moment, is there's this internal struggle or this internal battle for what should I do? What's right for me? What's right for everybody else? What's the right thing to do? But what happens if I don't do it? And, we have a lot of this negative speak that comes into our minds and that tells you, oh no, you shouldn't even bother doing that. You're not good enough for that. You can't do that. It's only a matter of time before you fail. All of these kind of little whispers that we have in our head. And this is something that you're really struggling with at the moment, air signs. And it's quite interesting as an air sign, all of these thoughts in the head, because the air signs are mind, I wanted to say mental, but that just sounds terrible. But you're all very much in your heads. You're very thinkers. You overanalyze and overthink and overstrategize stuff in your head long before the physical actually manifests and materializes. So Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, just be very mindful of the thoughts in your head, the way self-sabotage. I'm actually going to label it as self-sabotage. And let's do what we can. Let's use the crystal that's available to us this week that turns a negative into a positive, a negative into a positive, okay? And the only way that you're going to do that is through conscious self-care, by being aware that you're doing it. Number one, acknowledge how hard you are to yourself. Acknowledge how critical you are to yourself. Let's acknowledge that first. And if you can acknowledge it, immediately your self-care, it improves, it increases, it becomes better, it becomes stronger. So acknowledge the self-care. Acknowledge the thoughts, acknowledge the kind of stuff that's happening in your head. And as soon as you acknowledge it, you can start working on improving it. But if you don't acknowledge it, then we're stuck. Then we're stuck in that mindset. We're stuck in that space. So it's very important, air signs, that you acknowledge how supercritical and hard you are on yourself first. Once you've done that, let's see how the week flows. So then we get the Eight of Discs. I love this card. The artwork is just so pretty. So there you're sitting. You've got your book, you've got all your tools, you've got your everything that you need around you, and you are planting, okay? You are doing whatever is necessary to achieve what you need at a later stage. You are realizing that it's important to plant seeds now that you will harvest at a later stage, okay? Because this is what, if you're under the assumption that if you plant a seed in the ground today, tomorrow you can harvest a fruit or a plant or a flower or a whatever, you're going to be wrong. And that's where you get caught in this mindset of negativity. But when you realize that things take time, everything takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing is instantaneous. Everything takes time to progress, to develop, and to achieve maturity. And if you're practicing conscious self care with yourself and with your environment, you will actually have better success at what you're doing. I'm also going to bring in for you the angel message that we drew today about goals, and it tells you your angels are asking you to set new goals or to redefine old goals. Your angels are waiting to help you achieve them. So remember, the best way to help others achieve their goals is to set an example of achieving your own goals. So, and I do think that's exactly what this particular card is telling you. Be diligent. Be be I want to say be on purpose. Bad English. Be on purpose. Do things consciously. Do things consciously for yourself, knowing that it's ultimately going to lead you to what you want for yourself, the goals that you've set for yourself. Okay, and this is a week to overcome our negative mindset, our negative self speak, our negative judgment that we have of ourselves. We need to overcome that this week so that we can set, I almost want to say, plant the seeds that are necessary so that we can achieve happiness and success in the future. Because look what we have. Once we've done all of that, we have the Six of Cups, which is just, I mean, it's my favorite keyword. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you will know that. Joy. So here we have two people surrounded by a ring of roses, a ring of flowers, a ring of happiness, a ring of joy. And they're just so in the moment, so in the now, living their best life. They don't have a care in the world. They don't have a worry in the world. They lack nothing. They need nothing. They have everything their heart's desires and so much more. You can't have that if we don't overcome this. You can't have that if you don't put the effort in, if you don't put the work in. You can't have a happy, joyous, successful life if you don't practice conscious self-care. Now, in this particular instance, conscious self-care is about doing the work that needs to be done, but letting go of the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that are not relative or relevant in your life right now. By setting the goals, by realizing that, you have to be crafty in doing the things that you need to do. You have to be conscious in laying out the seeds, planting the seeds, nurturing the seeds, and allowing the seeds to grow. And if you don't plant enough seeds today, you're not going to achieve the joy and the happiness you're looking for at a later stage. But you have to be diligent, because you can't just plant seeds today and think it's going to last you a lifetime. You need to recognize that each week you need to plant new seeds so that when the seeds are ready in 6 months' time, each week you can harvest new crop. Okay, so it's about understanding that kind of process of life and being diligent. You can't just work hard one day and expect that to take care of you for the rest of your life. You have to work hard every single day. You have to be diligent and hardworking every single day in order to have a lifetime of joy and a lifetime of happiness. But it all starts with conscious self-care. So air signs, overcome this. And if you can't do it on your own, if you find it difficult, if you find it hard, seek alternative medicine. Do what you can. Reach out. There are so many people who are willing to help you, who are capable of helping you, who want to help you, but they can't help you if you don't acknowledge this for yourself first. All right. Air signs, love and blessings to you for the week ahead. And hopefully you have an amazing week and overcome your obstacles really quickly. Water signs, hello and welcome. Let's have a look and see what the week ahead has in store for you. The three cards that I've drawn for you, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We've got the Tower, we have got the Wizard, or otherwise known as the Magician, and we have the Hermit card. So immediately what jumps at me here is the fact that we have three major arcana cards within the tarot, which tells you this is a big week. Tells you that this particular week is not just going to be a simple average walk in the park. This is going to be a week for a lot of deep, dark, hard work on your part. And it's so interesting that this has come through in a week of conscious self-care and a week of being crafty in creating that time for conscious self-care. We also have from the angels, we have got alternative medicine and goals. So it all fits in so beautifully. Let's bring in our crystal, which talks about transmuting or changing negative energy into positive energy. And this is exactly what's happening here. So water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Spirit is starting off by saying to you, we recognize that you're struggling at the moment. Okay, we recognize that it feels as if the rug has been pulled out from under you. You feel as if your whole world is topsy-turvy. You feel as if everything's going wrong. Anything that could go wrong seems to be going wrong. You're feeling very overwhelmed with how much stuff is happening around you at the moment. You may be feeling like you're losing control. Okay, so there is this, and whether that's physically on the outside or just emotionally, mentally on the inside, it would differ for each one of you. But if you spend a bit of time with what I'm saying here, you're going to recognize where in your life this energy is coming in. But there is some aspect of your life, and I think it's a big aspect of your life, where it feels like things are falling apart, where it feels as if, you know, everything is just crumbling around you. If we just look at the artwork for a second, I mean, there is just chaos and devastation everywhere. But let's look at what's happening in the center here. In the center here, we have a single person who seems to be surrounded in a bubble of light. And that light seems to be emanating out. And he seems to be rather, I'm going to call it untouched, unscathed by the flames and the destruction that's going on around him. We have an eagle coming through here. And what is the eagle carrying? I can't even see. I want to call it a fish, but I could be wrong in saying that. And then we have this comet eye that's coming down to earth. So there's a lot going on in this card. But what we do see is how that individual in the center is rather unscathed. Everything, the chaos and the devastation and the destruction is happening around him, not necessarily to him. But I have to say to you, water signs, that you are absolutely the center of it. You are the cause. You are integral to the whole scenario taking place. So when we see the Tower card in a reading, it talks about the devastation, the destruction, the collapse, the pressure, the stress, all of those kind of things. But its main message is not about the collapse. Its main message is about the rebuild. And when things break, when things go wrong, you have a choice of actually just staying in that chaos, staying in that collapse, or rebuilding yourself, re-picking up all the pieces, gluing them back together. So you can either throw it out or you can fix it and move on. Considering a week of conscious self-care, I do think this is happening to you personally. So it may not be your environment, it may not be your surroundings, it may be something happening mentally, emotionally to you, with you at the moment. And I do think that this is saying to you, water signs, that it's very important this week that we don't focus on the collapse, but we focus on the rebuild, on the strengthening, on the putting together. But I also am going to tell you, it collapsed for a particular reason. There was a reason for the collapse, because things weren't great. Things weren't fabulous. Things were not going according to plan. Things were not in the best for your highest good. So that's why things have collapsed. So now when you rebuild, you get a chance through conscious self-care of being selective in how you want it to rebuild. What does your rebuild look like? What does your new reality, your future look like? What do you want? What doesn't work for you and what does work for you? And this is where our crafty fox comes in, because the crafty fox is going to be very open and say, actually, this is what I prefer. This is what I don't want. And this is exactly what you need to be focusing on for the week ahead. All right, water signs. We have the magician. In this particular tarot deck, he's called the Wizard, but he is the magician. And I want you to see what his key phrase is. Power of creation. Do you understand? So after the collapse, after the devastation, after the destruction, after everything goes wrong, suddenly we are empowered with the power of creation. Suddenly we are empowered with tools, skills, ambition, knowledge, understanding, etc., that we need to rebuild what isn't working in our life. But I am again going to repeat, water signs. It comes back to conscious self-care. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not mindful around your needs, wants, and desires, if you're not conscious in saying, speaking out, and expressing what it is you want, you are going to rebuild what was already broken the way it was before it was broken, instead of making it better this time around. So in the rebuild, we need to be conscious around what we're rebuilding, how we rebuild it, and how we want to rebuild it, so that we are rebuilding it in a way that better suits us, in a way that is more better for us. My words are failing me. And then we have this beautiful, beautiful hermit card. I love the green, and the green comes from Archangel Raphael, the healing. So here we have the hermit card. Now the hermit card he's very introspective. He's very conscious of himself. He's very conscious of his self-care. He's very conscious that he can't rely on anybody. He should not rely on anybody. He's very conscious of the fact that the only person that he can trust, and the only person that he can believe in, and the only person that he can rely on is himself. And he doesn't put any pressure on anybody else. He's very conscious of his own interactions. In saying that, the negative aspect of him is that he doesn't let anybody in. He is so in his own little bubble, so in his own little world, that he doesn't allow anybody to share. So he seems to keep everybody at arm's length, and it's only him that's inside of his sacred circle. I am going to say to you, water signs, to be very aware that when you rebuild, when you recreate yourself this week, when you get to that point of identifying who you want to be, okay, not who you are, but who you want to be, at that point, realize that yes, you can only rely on yourself. You only have yourself to lean on, or to rely on. But at the same time, it is important that you let others in, that you allow other people the opportunity to join you on your inner circle. Don't try and be your own superhero, okay? Because that's not what this is about. As much as we are focusing on conscious self-care, as a water sign, you need people, you need love, you need interaction, you need people in your space. And you've got to consciously allow, okay? You've got to consciously allow and give people permission to step into your sacred circle. So do that when building, when rebuilding that which has collapsed in your world. Recognize that you don't need to do this all on your own, that you are not a solo sailor out in the ocean, that you need people to assist and to help you. And just because you're doing that, it's not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. So water signs, for your week ahead, be very conscious of the changes that are taking place. This is a big week for you, okay? You are very much in control, or should I say, you need to be very much in control. And the only way that you're going to have this control to recreate and to rebuild yourself is by forcing and taking the time for conscious self-care. Set the goals. Use alternative medicine to assist you. Don't feel guilty about expressing your own needs and wants and desires, and make sure that you are turning all negatives into a positive. Negative into a positive. Okay? That is the only thing that you need to be focusing on. Focus on the rebuild. Don't get caught up in the chaos. Focus on the rebuilding, but letting people into your sacred circle. People who are worthy, people who can help you, and people who make you feel good, because that's all that matters. I hope you have an awesome week. Lots of love and blessings, water signs. Take care. Right, so I hope you all enjoyed your zodiac energy for the week ahead. Certainly was some interesting concepts and things that came through. We are now moving on to our Q&A with Spirit. So as always, I have my cues. I have my cues. Let's shuffle. So for those of you who are doing Q&A with Spirit for the first time, just to explain to you how it works while I shuffle the cards, I have a deck of questions, And as I'm shuffling, I sort of say to Spirit, what is something that we should all be thinking about or pondering? What is a question or a topic that is interesting or should be interesting to each one of us? Something that we all need to be aware of, mindful of, just something for us to discuss this week. And we draw the question, and then I use another tarot deck to get some answers. So let's get a question. See, what does Spirit want us to focus on this week? There is our question card, and let's have a look and see what is our cue this week. You see, you all know what I'm going to say. Friends, I can't make this stuff up. I can't. Conscious self-care, and the question, how can I best learn to love myself? Isn't that conscious self-care? Like, honestly, and every single one of the zodiac readings that I've already done today have all been around, you know, the conscious self-care has just come through in such a strong way. Actually, I'm going to stick this card up there. So we hear you, Spirit. We hear you. We recognize that conscious self-care is just so vitally important. So how can we best learn to love ourselves? Now, I did have another tarot deck that I was going to use, but I'm actually guided to use the same one. All the cards have been put back into the deck, and I'm just going to use the Patch Tarot to answer the question, because it is about self-love. It is. I mean, I adore this deck. So let's have a look. How can we best learn to love ourselves through a week of conscious self-care? How can we best learn to love ourselves? How can we best learn to love ourselves this week? Let's see what comes through. How can we best learn to love ourselves? And I love the fact that we're dealing with ourselves and not other people, you know, because we have to focus on ourselves first. So let's see, friends, how can we best learn to love ourselves? Card number 1, we have the Prince of Wands. We then have the Princess of Cups. And we have the Two of Swords. Now, I feel like I'm having a whole deja vu moment, because one of the zodiac readings, and right now I cannot remember which one, but one of the zodiac readings had almost this exact outcome. But it was aces. We had an ace and an ace, and then we had the 2. And these 2 were opposite. I had the icy one here and the fire one there. But just having a whole deja vu moment, just sharing it with you. All right. So how can we best learn to love ourselves? The first card we have here is the Prince of Wands. So there you can see he is on his chariot. He has got his fiery lion with him. There is sparks. There is enthusiasm. There is everything going on. You can see that he is driving. He's got his little rein on his animal there, and he is the charioteer, and he is just moving. There is speed, there is action, there is activity, there is so much going on here. You can even see the dust clouds behind him as he is moving forward and as he is going through everything. I love this light that he's illuminating here, and I love the fact that he looks like he's so confident. He is so secure and so stable. He's got not a single doubt. There is not a single doubt. He understands his function and his purpose. He understands what it is that he's doing on a big scale, on a big picture. He's not worried about the details, okay? He's trusting that the details will sort themselves out. But what he's focused on is the overall goal, the overall dream, the overall aspiration of what it is that he's working towards. And he's just moving. He's not allowing himself to think. He's not allowing himself to get caught up in the what-if analysis. So how can he best learn to love himself? What we all need to learn from this is to just get on and do it, okay? I often hear from people things like, oh, but you know what, when my job is permanent, okay, then I'll be happier. When I have saved up a bit of money, I'll be happier. When I can buy a new car, I'll be happier. When my relationship reaches 6 months, I'll be happier. When? No, now, friends, now. So how can we best learn to love ourselves? By just doing it, just getting on and doing the things that need to be done, making the changes that need to be done. You know, initiating whatever it is that needs initiating so that we can start moving forward. But we have to practice conscious self-love. We have to practice conscious self-care. We have to take care of ourselves. Nobody else is going to do it for us. We then have our beautiful Princess of Cups. And it's her little key phrase is dreamy. Now, what I get from dreamy is that goals, okay? We have to we have to fantasize. All right? We have to dream the impossible dream. We have to be mindful of of the of the I want to say of the imaginary success and world we want for ourselves. We have to dream the impossible dream. Set big goals, okay? Because if you lower your goals and say, no, 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 but this is my reality and this is all I can have, then you're limiting yourself to just that. But when you say, I deserve so much more. I want so much more. I believe I'm entitled to so much more. When you start believing in yourself and dreaming bigger and get on and do it, you'll be amazed at how much you can achieve. You will be amazed at how much you can achieve. But here's the but, okay? The but that we have here with our Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is the card that says to you that you don't see what's right in front of you. You're so in your space. You're so in your head. You're so restricted by your consciousness. You're so restricted by your reality or by your thoughts around your reality that you are actually stuck. I'm pausing for big effect there. So what we get from the Two of Swords in this particular instance to answer that question around a week of conscious self-love is Spirit saying to you, dream bigger, get a move on, and stop limiting and restricting yourself. You are your own worst enemy. How can you best learn to love yourself? By seeing yourself as wonderful and amazing as you are, by being honest with yourself around who and what you are, about who and what you want, who and what you need, who and what you deserve in your life. Being honest with yourself around everything that you are, everything that you want, everything that you have. Recognizing that there are no limits except those that you put on yourself. There are no restrictions except those that you put on yourself. So how can you best learn to love yourself? By dreaming bigger, by doing something about it, and removing the limiting beliefs that you have, and practicing conscious self-care for yourself, setting those goals, using alternative medicine in whichever way that you can, and change all negatives into a positive in your life. And if you can do that, friends, you will learn how to love yourself more. And it's not about being selfish. It's not about being egotistical. It's none of that. It's none of that. It's just about realizing that you deserve more. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. How can you love yourself? By recognizing that you deserve more. And that's what this is telling you. Friends, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to move on to the bonus reading for our Motivated and Activated channel members. If you haven't already done so, join the membership now. There is so much benefit to joining, and you get a lot more access to me as well as individual readings on a very regular basis. So click the join button down here now, and otherwise do have a fantastic week ahead. As always, with love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.